Hello, and welcome to the Cinema Lounge. My name is Garrett. I am your host, and today we are celebrating summer by talking about Weekend at Bernie's. See, get it? I'm dead. Alright, I'm not doing that anymore. Welcome to the Cinema Lounge. For the people who are only listening on Spotify and not watching us on YouTube or Rumble, first off, go do that. Second off, I just tried to do a Weekend at Bernie's thing because that's what we're talking about. I realized I was not acknowledging or celebrating the fact that summer was here. I've been out of school for like a month and a half now, and I have yet to go, hey, summer's here, because the past couple of weeks were more serious and depressing. So I figured, hey, let's just hit my desk. Let's just do a summer episode. Celebrate the fact that summer is here, the weather is mostly hot, and we can swim and enjoy the sun and not worry about school or school stuff, and worry more about making money to get by our day-to-day lives. I'm trying to collect my thoughts because I just did that bit without doing any sort of voiceover. But as I already mentioned, we're going to be talking about Weekend at Bernie's. I was wanting to talk about like a summer-themed movie, and well, Weekend at Bernie's was one that popped up under summer-themed movies. I had not seen it before. I literally just wrapped up watching it maybe like 30 minutes ago. So it's a little fresh in my mind. But before we get into talking about that, first, let's talk about the movie news while we were away. Or, I just missed the movie news this week. Welcome to the Hoarder's Nest. Oh my gosh, there's so much crap in here. This week in movie news is brought to you by the cast that just keeps growing bigger and bigger than the Duggar family. Props to you if you still get that reference. Or not. Stranger Things has added 4 more cast members to Season 4. Amy Beth McNulty, Miles Truitt, Regina Ting Chen, and Grace Van Dyne are joining the town of Hawkins for the 4th season of Stranger Things. McNulty will play Vicky, a cool, fast-talking band nerd who catches the eye of one of the main characters. Truitt will play Patrick, a Hawkins basketball star who has friends, talents, and a good life. Basically your traditional popular kid, until shocking events send his life spiraling out of control. Ting Chin will play Miss Kelly, a popular guidance counselor who cares deeply for her students, especially those struggling the most. And Van Dyne will play Chrissy, a Hawkins High cheerleader and most popular girl who, for whatever reason, hasn't popped up yet, but beneath the seemingly perfect surface lies a dark secret. This is in addition to Pariah Ferguson being bumped to a series regular, Campbell Bower, Eduardo Franco, and Joseph Quinn being cast as series regulars, and horror icon Robert Englund coming in as a recurring role. There are also a lot of recurring roles that have been cast and announced so far, but I don't have time to go into that. I got other news to cover. Shazam 2 director David F. Sandberg has confirmed that the notorious arch-enemy of Shazam, Black Adam, will not be appearing in the upcoming Fury of the Gods movie, as, according to Sandberg, he has his own movie. A Quiet Place has a 3rd installment coming out only 2 weeks after A Quiet Place 2 is coming to theaters, with a release date already being announced. The movie will come out March 31st, 2023. While little is known right now, obviously, we know that this movie will not be a threequel, but will be based on an idea from Quiet Place 1 and 2 director John Krasinski, with Jeff Nichols slated to be writing and directing the project. Hey, remember Shadow and Bone, that new Netflix show? No? Oh, well, in case you were wondering, it's getting a season 2. Thanks. In news about streaming series I actually care about, we got a first look image of Jensen Ackles in the upcoming Season 3 of The Boys as the newcomer character, Soldier Boy. You crank that Soldier Boy! You... Let's keep the streaming show news coming with Marvel's new Disney Plus series, Loki. Kevin Feige has stated that the show will have more impact on the MCU than any of the other shows thus far. Another MCU Disney Plus streaming show, She-Hulk, has just cast the Good Place actress Jamila Jamil as the supervillain Titania, continuing the very strange trend of tokenizing redhead characters. It's weird. Strange. I don't know. Strange. Speaking of Disney Plus shows, The Mandalorian spin-off The Book of Boba Fett has just wrapped production. The show, which was teased in episode 2.5 of The Mandalorian, will explore Boba Fett's life since the fall of the Empire, hopefully explaining how the crap he escaped out of the Sarlacc pit. How? For all intents and purposes, the man was dead, but I guess he lived. He was resurrected. Boba Fett. Jesus Fett. We got a little teaser of the upcoming animated movie, DC's League of Super Pets, which gives us a first look of Crypto the Superdog, who will be voiced by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Joining him will be Kevin Hart as Ace the Bat Hound, Keanu Reeves, Vanessa Bayer, John Krasinski, Natasha Lyonne, Diego Luna, and Kate McKinnon in undisclosed roles. In other DC news, the upcoming Blue Beetle film has been confirmed to be an HBO Max exclusive, joining the likes of projects like the upcoming Green Lantern Corps. Ooh, we also just got the official title for the upcoming Aquaman 2 movie, which will now be titled Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Interesting. Oh, hey, since we're on the topic of DC Comics stuff, and if any of you out there actually care about Batwoman, we got a couple promotional images of Cameron Johnson suiting up as Batwing. That's it. No one cares. It's just interesting, I guess. Back to news we actually care about. Am I right? Oh, we got some more casting news from John Wick 4. Joining Donnie Yen and Keanu Reeves, sewer clown Bill Skarsgård will be joining the 4th installment of the beloved action franchise, though in an undisclosed role. Oh, hey, does anybody remember the Munsters? Probably not, unless you were born before the 1980s, or you're a loser. Like me. Well, singer, songwriter, director galore Rob Zombie, who has directed some of the most gory and grimy horror films to ever exist, is making a reboot of the 60s sitcom. Goofy, fun, family-friendly sitcom made by the guy who did House of a Thousand Corpses. It could work. Oh, hey, we got a new poster and official promo image for Jurassic World Dominion. Buckle your seatbelts, we got a lot for this one. On that poster, it says that there will be an exclusive extended preview with F9 airing in IMAX theaters. Look, the closest good IMAX theater to me is about 3 hours from now. I'm not about to drive 3 hours to go watch Fast and Furious 9. And watch a trailer for a dinosaur movie. Anyway, in an interview, director Colin Trevorrow stated some specifics about the upcoming film. We will get to see the past when dinos ruled the world, including an origin story for our favorite dino, the T-Rex, in which Rexy was brutally murdered by the Giganosaurus, what will most likely be the big bad dino of the film. We also get to see the recently discovered Dreadnoughtus, the Quetzalcoatlus, the Oviraptor, and the Moros Intrepidus, a tiny feathered T-Rex looking thing that was discovered 2 years ago, which is probably what we see in this promo image. Trevorrow also stated that they filmed the whole movie on location on the island of Socotra, which has not been captured much on film. We also get to see the return of some of the OG cast, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. Oh yeah, I think I'm excited for this movie now. There is a Ted prequel series in the works at Peacock. Seth MacFarlane is executive producing and in talks to reprise his role as the titular foul-mouthed teddy bear. There is also a Lord of the Rings anime movie in the works from creators of the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, titled The Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim. While Peter Jackson won't be involved in the project, he has given the project his blessing. We're still waiting on J.R.R. Tolkien to comment. Oh wait, he's dead? Oh. Trailer time! We got new trailers this week, including the trailer for the new Space Jam sequel, Space Jam: A New Legacy. And now I have some reservations about it.
Peter's gonna hate!
Yikes. We also got a trailer for the long-delayed Ryan Reynolds starring movie Free Guy, and please just give us this movie already. It looks good, and I just want to have fun in the theater again.
I'm never gonna die!
And we got a trailer for the new Steven Soderbergh project, No Sudden Move.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna punch you now, sir. I'm punching you. This is going to be a punch.
Boom, boom, boom.
I didn't know this was a thing, but the cast is stacked and it's being directed by the guy who did the Oceans trilogy, Logan Lucky, Magic Mike. So count me in on this. Also, we got a teaser trailer for the new Kevin Smith animated series Netflix project based off of the Masters of the Universe cartoon, and I'm kind of digging it.
I need a hero!
Alright, let's wrap up with some news that I really want to talk about, you know? Remember how a few weeks back I talked about the Flintstones animated adult TV show and how that Velma was going to be getting one as well? We got some news about that this week. So Mindy Kaling, who is going to be heading the project, is reimagining Velma as being of East Asian descent. Kaling has stated that the gang will be inhabiting a different world. A world in which the two most iconic parts of Scooby-Doo canon, Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Machine, will be absent. What? Why? 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 I don't know why. I want to talk about it, but let's talk about it later. But you know what? For now, that has been this week in movie news. I need to take a nap. All right. Thank you for checking that out. I hope y'all liked that segment. This one was a lot more goofy this time around. I put our last episode of that out on the Instagram account, and it got some positive reception, and people really like the more comedic stuff, so I kind of just cranked the hamminess up of that segment to 11, just to kind of have fun with it and to make it more enjoyable as an individual video or segment. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. If you can't tell, I changed hats between segments. Also, I guess, address my outfit. I'm dressed more summery. I got my sunglasses out. I got my freaking button-up shirt with my flamingos on it to look a little bit more in the mood for summer. But I also changed hats between the segment to put on my Jurassic World hat because I'm kind of pumped for Jurassic World Dominion. But before we talk about that, let's talk about some of the other stuff that we brought up in the news segments. And I think from now on, excuse me, I don't know why, but I always just I gotta burp every time I record one of these. It's too much information, but I don't care. There's another one. From now on, I think I'm just going to talk about kind of the big stories that stood out to me the whole thing about Black Adam not being in it, that was kind of a gimme, but confirmation nonetheless. So instead of just addressing each and every one of the small, tiny things, I'm just going to skip over it and talk about the big stuff. So, like, Stranger Things has 4 more cast members, and through this I found out that we also have a buttload of other cast members. The thing that stood out to me, first off, we are getting Robert Englund in a recurring role, which is really cool because if you don't know who that is, he was Freddy Krueger, so he is kind of a horror icon, which we need to see in something like this, where it takes a lot of inspirations, not just from horror movies, but 80s films in general, which Nightmare on Elm Street was a big tentpole movie series from that time period. So it'll be cool to see Robert Englund come back for that. But besides that, the rest of the cast I haven't really heard of or care all that much about. But I just think it's interesting that it seems like Stranger Things 4 will have this massive, huge cast with inner working, world building, and characters interacting with each other. And I'm curious to see where they're going to go with all these characters, or if they're just going to kind of drop off on them and kind of just put them in the background. Next, Quiet Place is getting a 3rd movie, and like I said, this isn't going to be a sequel or a next installment after Quiet Place 2. It seems like this is going to be a separate story, separate idea. So I'm curious to see what idea Krasinski came up with. Maybe to like build up on the world, or maybe like a prequel. We don't really know a lot about it right now, but that it's intriguing that this isn't going to just continue the storyline of the characters we've been following thus far. The boys, we got our first look at Soldier Boy. I'm digging it. I really like this old, rugged, a little bit of a darker take on Captain America, so that will be really cool. We got... I'm trying to look at some of these others. We got Titania gonna be in She-Hulk. And if you guys know me or have been following this podcast at all, I don't care about the Disney Plus shows. I really don't. I know Loki started up this past Wednesday. I don't care enough to really watch them at least right now. I might play catch up later. So just starting from a place of I don't care about this show, She-Hulk has never been a character that has stood out particularly to me. And also, they're continuing the weird trend of taking redheaded characters and not making them redheaded in adaptations, or race swapping them, or it's a very strange trend, like specifically with redheads. And once again, I've talked about this multiple times. It's just, I don't know if I've specifically brought up the redhead thing, but if you look at how many redheads it's happened to, it's very funny, because it's very strange that that's what is happening to redheads. You got Titania now, but you have Ariel, Annie, you had Cyclone in the upcoming Black Adam movie. You have there's a big Jimmy Olsen in the Supergirl TV show, where Jimmy Olsen is this scrawny, tiny, redheaded, pasty kid, and in the Supergirl TV show, he's this jacked, bald black man. It's a funny trend that is just very noticeable. But yeah, I haven't seen A Good Place. I've heard it's good. I hear Jamila Jamil is a good actress. And so she could be good. I've heard she's incredibly tall, so she might have that physicality to her. I don't know. Whoever ends up watching this show, we'll see. The Book of Boba Fett wrapped up. This is actually intriguing to me, because I've always wanted to see a Boba Fett independent project. I might actually check this. Oh, crap. I really need a new desk. I I'm really interested to check this out, and I hope it is good. And hopefully we get to see how he escaped the Sarlacc pit. The League of Super Pets. Only thing I want to say about this, when I was growing up, Crypto the Superdog was my jam. I watched that crap all the time on Boomerang. Oh my gosh, I don't know why, but I loved that show. That's about all I have to say about that. That's the only reason I'm even looking at this movie right now. Let's see, Blue Beetle. I'm excited for this movie. Shoot, I was gonna grab. I got a Blue Beetle figure, and I really like the idea of Blue Beetle. Granted, it's Ted Kord, and what I think is going to end up happening with this movie is going to be the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. But we'll see. This will be an HBO Max exclusive. I don't know if that speaks to the budget it's going to get or the confidence they have in this film and in this project. So I'll probably have to wait until a teaser is released. Aquaman 2, Lost Kingdom, Unite the Seven. It provokes some thought of what is the Lost Kingdom, the last kingdom Aquaman has to reach out to, and what does that have to do with Black Manta, because he is confirmed to come back. So, still curious. I liked Aquaman. It's a fun. I think the movie, or the word I used to describe it was, it is a very radical movie. It's a rad, It's radical, bro. That's literally what I thought we're watching it. It's a fun, colorful movie that anyone can enjoy. So I'm kind of excited for this one. Skipping through. Now, Jurassic Park Dominion. I'm just really excited about this because, A, we're getting to go back in time, so we actually get to see a land full of dinosaurs. So my inner child is just freaking excited because as a child I was super into dinosaurs. And it's cool that we're getting to see some more recently discovered dinosaurs like Dreadnoughtus and Moros Intrepidus. So that'll be cool. I recognize the Oviraptor. It does have multiple different imaginings of it, so it'll be interesting to see which official, because there's multiple official designs for the Oviraptor. It'll be interesting to see which one they end up going with. And then the Quetzalcoatlus is basically like a pterodon, except like 10 times the size of a normal one. So it is a massive pterodon. So that will be interesting and terrifying, especially if this is going to be in the modern day and not just Quetzalcoatlus in the past. But that's interesting. The fact that we're going to get another recently discovered dinosaur seeming to be our big bad. We get to see an origin story for the T-Rex, which on one hand sounds really stupid, but on the other hand, kind of excited for it because anything with more T-Rex, I'm down for. And then the last thing that really got me excited was this was all filmed on location. This was filmed on an island in, I think, the Pacific Ocean, with these really cool looking trees. Go look it up. I put up a picture in the segment, but everyone's not watching this. So just go look it up. It's the island of Socotra. Socotra? Socotra. Go look up pictures of it. It's such a beautiful landscape. It'll make this movie look visually striking just by setting alone. We got a Lord of the Rings anime film. Yeah, confession time. I haven't seen any of the Lord of the Rings. So I'm not as excited about this as some people, but I'm getting into anime right now. And I'm impressed with animation within anime shows and movies. So this will probably be very visually striking. And at some point, I will watch Lord of the Rings. I've only seen the Hobbit trilogy. I went and watched that in middle school. Skipped school and went and watched all 3 Hobbits in theaters. But I've still yet to see the Lord of the Rings movies, so I will get on that at one point. I'm even thinking about maybe doing a podcast episode where I sit down and I just watch back to back to back all three Lord of the Rings movies in one sitting and just kind of talk briefly about them after every viewing. Obviously, wouldn't put the entirety of me watching it, but just like introduction. Cut out the part of me watching, and I come back and I record a little bit of talking about it. I think that would be interesting. Let me know in the comments down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching anywhere else or listening anywhere else, if you know me, send me a message, text message. If you don't, go follow us on Instagram at the Cinema Lounge and DM me or something. I don't know. I'll probably put a poll up in the near future. But yeah, so we got that. And then just, I'm just going to talk about the trailers real quick. First off, Space Jam 2, my excitement for it has gradually been declining. At first, I was hyped because I love Space Jam. Space Jam is a very underrated movie, in my opinion. Just both technically and just enjoyability. I think some people just get really, really too critical with it. Just sit back and enjoy the movie and you'll love it. But the more that has come out about it, the more I'm just like, I don't know. They're like Ready Player wanting it, which is interesting, but also we already have Ready Player One, and that was a very, very mediocre movie. Also, in this trailer, we have Granny drinking wine or some sort of alcohol and saying haters gonna hate. I do not like it when my movies try to use common or current or somewhat current slang or young people vernacular, or especially when it's like meme vernacular. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I don't want to hear in a movie a character go, Mondays be like, because that's just the whole like Mondays be like, or I be like, the whole be like framing of sentences is a completely just meme thing. It's not meant to be taken seriously, especially in the current culture of this. I sound like a freaking idiot seriously discussing meme culture, but one thing the only thing I use my Instagram for is looking at crap that makes me laugh. So I have gotten very versatile in the meme community, the meme making community. But the current trend of memes is just out there, incredibly ironic and sardonic tones of just making fun of something, and it's funny because it sounds stupid, or it is cringy, or it doesn't sound right. So I don't like it when movies try to incorporate that, because it completely loses any it does not sound genuine, and it loses a lot of just credibility as something I can take seriously, even as a kid's movie or something. I don't want my characters to say haters gonna hate. It's just, that's a very just internet particular phrase that doesn't work in any other context. The Free Guy trailer, I've been waiting for this movie for a long time. It's basically just GTA Online if one of the NPCs decided to go rogue. And that sounds fun. So I'm excited for that. No Sudden Move. Love Steven Soderbergh. Love Logan Lucky. Ocean's 11 is one of my favorite movies ever. So I'm excited to see what he does with this amazing cast. And then Masters of the Universe. Even though I just read somewhere that Kevin Smith is currently in some hot water for saying he's not a He-Man fan, even though he's been spouting off this entire time that he is. So, there's that, I guess, concern, but just judging by the trailer, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. I'm totally on the bandwagon for this. I watched I watched a little bit of She-Ra and He-Man as a kid, like 2 or 3 episodes, just because I was in the middle of nowhere and the only channel we had access to was the news and Saturday morning cartoons, and that was what was on, so I just watched a little bit of it. And I think I watched a little bit of this show called Lone Star, which was a space cowboy cartoon. I don't remember quite that much, but, you know, back in the day, animation wasn't that great, very stilted, so I'm curious to see what we can get out of a Masters of the Universe incarnation that is a lot more stylized and a lot more updated. So I'm excited. Last one, this is the one that I really just wanted to talk about because this combines a whole lot of crap. So, first off, I never wanted a Velma adult animated TV show, because that sounds stupid, frankly. Why would we want an adult animated TV show centering on a supporting character from Scooby-Doo? And that's what Velma is. Every character besides Shaggy and Scooby-Doo are supporting characters. So there's that. I didn't want this in the first place. I don't want to listen to Velma talking about whatever, especially with the whole connotation of adult animated shows, especially when it's coming from someone like Mindy Kaling, is that it's going to be incredibly raunchy. I don't mind a more adult animated show. One of my favorite cartoons ever right now is Harvey Birdman, which was an adult animated cartoon. The issue, or the thing that made that work, is that it played to the strengths of the characters involved. So Harvey Birdman, who is from an early Hanna-Barbera cartoon for kids, is now a lawyer taking on cases for various Hanna-Barbera characters like the Jetsons, the Flintstones, Scooby-Doo. What made that work is it played to the strengths of the characters. So the one with Scooby-Doo, Shaggy and Scooby get arrested because they're driving the Mystery Machine and smoking pot. So Harvey has to go and defend him. What makes that work is that Shaggy is clearly a stand-in for a pothead, so it makes sense for his character. They're not changing who he is, they're just playing into the more adult inferences you can make about Shaggy, and that works. In terms of this, I don't trust this show to be that clever with it. I don't trust this show to be in any way faithful to the characters for a few reasons that I talked about. But I don't particularly like Mindy Kaling. She is one of my least favorite parts of The Office. I don't really think she's all that funny. And yeah, I'm just not that big of a fan of her. Like, I'm not a huge fan of The Office. I know a lot of people love it. This might give me some hate mail. I think The Office is solid. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 show. I think there's a lot of problems with it and a lot of things that don't work for me particularly. I did not laugh out loud, and I don't care about a lot of the characters outside of Michael, Jim, and Pam. The rest of the characters are just kind of add-ons to be goofy, wacky side characters. Even like Dwight. I don't really care all that much about Dwight. All I think of Dwight is he had some funny moments. As opposed to like something like Parks and Rec, love Parks and Rec, because I feel every character has some sort of emotional stake in everything that goes on. They have their character quirks, but their character flaws as well, and they have relationships that are intimate with one another. The Office is just kind of ba. Besides Michael, Jim, and Pam, not a lot of them really get a lot of emotional growth. That's just me personally. But in saying that, Mindy Kaling was still one of my least favorite parts because she was just annoying in the show. And the biggest thing she did was have a relationship with the intern guy, played by BJ Novak, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. So there's that. Also, they're saying they're reimagining Velma as being of East Asian descent, which I'm pretty sure Mindy Kaling is. So I don't want to read too much into it. I think Mindy Kaling herself is going to be playing Velma, so
I think this is going to be more of a self-insert, and I do not like it when creators put themselves into a show or a movie to pretty much be themselves, especially when you are adapting from a prior property. You're pretty much taking an existing property and putting yourself in there for no reason other than vanity, I guess. So that's annoying. But, also there's the whole there's the whole tokenization issue that is automatically going to be divisive, where people on one side are like, it's not that big of a deal. If you don't like it, you're racist. And then the people who are like, this is my childhood. How dare you? Why don't you make original characters? And I'm just kind of like, it's annoying. Once again, when it comes to tokenization, I don't have a strong feeling about it. But because this seems like it's a self-insert, that's what's annoying to me. In terms of Velma being of East Asian descent in general, Scooby-Doo incarnations love to tokenize Velma. She's clearly white when they introduced her in Where Are You? Scooby-Doo Where Are You in the 70s. But if you watch, I think Scooby-Doo The Mystery Begins and Scooby-Doo The Curse of the Lake Monster live action shows or movies, what's her name? The singer, Haley Kiyoko, I think. I might get that wrong, but she's a relatively decent sized singer. She plays Velma in those movies, and she's obviously of Asian descent. So Velma was Asian in those movies. In the ones before, written by James Gunn, Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed, she's played by Linda Cardellini, who is of Italian descent. So Velma was effectively Italian in that. So, I guess there's a blurred line. Some people consider Italians white. I don't know. That one's strange. But this was a more fair-skinned Italian, I guess. I'm not even going to touch that issue. And then recently in Scoob from last year, which garbage movie, by the way, she was a Latino woman. So Velma's race has kind of fluctuated throughout the years. So this isn't really anything new. Once again, my main issue is that this feels like a self-insert rather than an honest depiction of the characters, which I was already skeptical of anyways because this was an adult animated show. But on top of that, we're not even going to get Scooby-Doo or the Mystery Machine. It's going to be the People Gang, which makes this less interesting. So what are they going to do? Are they just going to be normal college students, and they're going to be in college together having sex and getting drunk and popping pills? It just doesn't sound good. And the more I find out about it, the more I'm just like, this is going to be bad. Like, even the worst Scooby-Doo adaptations or incarnations had some strengths to them, or they at least tried to maintain some sort of trueness to Scooby-Doo in general. They always kept the dog, Scooby-Doo, and the gang working as a unit to solve mysteries. Be Cool Scooby-Doo, which a lot of people hated, looked like Family Guy. I understand that. I watched it. I think it's fine. It has some more fast-paced Family Guy-esque jokes, but at its core, it's still teenagers and a dog solving mysteries together and they're best friends. There's still that element, and that's oh crap! I'm sorry, guys. I just hit my mic. That is clearly going to be absent here, and I'm not excited about that in the slightest. This show. I don't like writing shows off or anything, especially before they've come out, but this show looks like garbage, to be frank. So, yeah, screw this Velma show. As you can tell, I'm a pretty big Scooby-Doo fan. That is my big franchise that I grew up with. I've read some of the comics. I have watched most, if not all, of the incarnations of the show. Some all the way through, some I have not seen thoroughly. I've seen a hefty majority of the straight-to-DVD movies, and I've seen a couple, all the theatrically released stuff. So Scooby-Doo is my like comic book, my Marvel DC stuff. Those are characters. That's a franchise that I will freaking defend. That are my ride or die, and I will fiercely defend its authenticity. And for lack of a better word, I want to make sure each incarnation upholds some form of the lore. The Scooby-Doo lore. But that's just me, at least from the people I know. I am definitely the person who's most into Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo kind of is what got me into wanting to create stories, and I love mystery solving, figuring out the culprit in these murder cases, or it got me into that genre, especially like entry level horror, if you want to consider it that. But because I watched that, I came up with my own mysteries, trying to figure out how do you construct a well put together mystery, trying to come up with these monster ideas and that kind of stuff. So it got my brain turning until I watched Iron Man. That's what put me on the path towards wanting to make movies. So Scooby-Doo definitely played a big part in my life. That's a lot of the reason why I'm kind of pissed off about this Velma show. Yeah. So that was this week in movie news. I think it ran a little long. That was my longest segment. I think that the recorded segment was like 10 minutes long. So I appreciate you guys for sticking through that. Now we are going to start our brief discussion about Weekend at Bernie's. I picked this for a couple reasons, because I just watched it for the first time like 30 minutes before recording this. Mainly because I did not have a clue what I was going to talk about this week. I went to a church camp and worked it, came back Wednesday, was worn the mess out. So I finished up Dexter season 8, fell asleep, slept for 10 and a half to 11 hours, and then refused to get up from my bed. I had some work I had to catch up on. So I did not have a lot of energy or time to really figure out what I was going to talk about. I remembered I wanted to talk about something summery. Weekends at Bernie popped up on a list of best summer movies. I was on Hulu. Decided to watch it. Crap. I'm sorry, guys. I'm bumping into crap. So I was just like, this'll work for this week. So this is a little lazily put out, but for a first time watching Weekend at Bernie's, it was solid. I definitely think it does not hold up as well as a lot of people would hope. The first 30 minutes are very slow, but once, spoiler alert, once Bernie dies, which I'm pretty sure most people at this point realize Bernie dies at some point, because the whole premise is Bernie dies and they have to pretend Bernie's alive. Once Bernie dies and they're at the beach house, it's a pretty fun and funny ride. First off, props to the guy who played Bernie. I forget his name. I told myself I was going to memorize it, and I didn't. So props to him. Him and his stunt double pretty much were the corpse the entire movie. Props to them for just getting flung around, thrown around, pretty much having to be limp the entire time. So first impressions of this, I guess. This movie was simultaneously more screwbally and crazy, but also way too reserved at the same time. And I say that in that the story is just ripe for screwball wackiness. I just thought it was going to be two dudes show up at Bernie's house, and Bernie's dead. Bernie's just dead, and they have to work around that for whatever reason. But the story that's presented is they figure out that Bernie's embezzling money from the company that they all work at, and so Bernie decides to try to kill him. But unfortunately, he pisses off the mob guys that he works for, because he's banging the mob boss's wife. So they kill him instead. So the guys just walk in on him on this, and because they pretend that Bernie's alive, they convince the mob guys that Bernie's still alive. So the hitman keeps coming back to kill Bernie again. So that makes for some fun antics, but it's also a lot more reserved in that there's not a lot of just big screwballiness. It's more just Bernie's corpse chilling there and them just trying to kind of delicately operate out of the situation. There's a whole rom-com angle where Richard, the main character, is trying to get with, I guess, the intern before she goes back off to college. All this is happening the entire movie. And overall, I mean, it's a really fun ride. It also makes for a very light movie to talk about. It's not one of those, I mean, you know, Joker, Bo Burnham's Inside, all of these types of movies where it's just so heavy subject matter. There's just a lot to talk about. And it's not like Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where it's just, there's just a lot of crap infused in there. This is more just a solid little screwball wacky comedy that I liked. The reason, though, that I'm going to make a full episode about this is one element that I can actually talk about for a little bit. And that is, I noticed once Bernie died, right, they put him in the foyer, figure out he's dead, and then people show up for the party. Everybody's talking amongst themselves, talking to Bernie's corpse, not even realizing that this dude is dead. Granted, it would be very hard to until he starts to smell, but I think it was also, side note, really clever that they made this take place over the course of maybe 24 hours, probably, just so the smell and the clear decomposition isn't a problem. But I noticed something in that scene. I think this movie is kind of about how do I put it? People are very self-absorbed. We suck. We only care about ourselves. We're selfish. Throughout this entire movie, people are just ignoring the fact that Bernie is dead because they don't bother to check on how he's doing. They don't bother to talk to him, really engage with him. You know, the guy who's trying to sell or buy something off of Bernie is just, oh, come on, Bernie, I'll take it for 30 grand. Oh, dang it, you're a tough customer. Leaving, coming back. Hey, Bernie, I'll buy it off of you for 35 grand. Ah, dang, tough customer. Oh, Bernie, 40 grand final offer. Oh my gosh, you will? Like, very surface level engagement. He only cares about getting this possession off of Bernie. He doesn't really care about the weird mannerisms or the fact that he's just kind of... For audio listeners, I just pretended to be dead. Like the fact that he's just limp. He's just limp. And when he says yes, it's someone's grabbing the back of his head and his head is jerking around. And the guy just takes it as a yes because all he cares about is getting, I think it was a Porsche, off of Bernie. All these people are just so obsessed with themselves and their lives and everything that's happening to them, what they want, that no one even bothers to check if Bernie's dead. Like, when the first two guys notice that Bernie's dead, it's not they walk in and he's just not reacting. They're smacking him and he doesn't react. It's, oh my gosh, Bernie's not responsive, but we don't care. We're only here to get laid. You know, we're only here to party. And it's not until they take him all the way downstairs, sit him in the couch, and he does not wake up, doesn't respond at all. It's only until he reaches in the pocket and pulls out a needle of maybe heroin or something, does he go, oh, he might be dead. You know, everyone in this movie is just so self-absorbed, including Bernie. Bernie only cares about getting ahead, taking money from his company, banging the mob boss's daughter, or girlfriend slash wife because that fulfills his desires. He doesn't care about anyone else. Everyone's obsessed about getting the girl. The whole reason Richard doesn't call the cops immediately is because every time he goes to do so, the love interest walks in and suddenly, well, we can hold off on the cops. I really got to get in this girl's pants. He is solely completely concerned about himself and fulfilling his own desires. Everyone else is, to where they ignore the obvious. We ignore the wrong stuff going on in other people's lives, the struggles people are going through, because we're so absorbed with our wants, our needs very loosely, our lives, our desires, that someone could literally be dead in front of us and we wouldn't notice. We wouldn't care. So that's something that stuck out to me, which was just, human beings are vain creatures who care about themselves. And that sucks. It really does. Also, I apologize if you hear any deep manly voices in the background. That is my father watching a baseball game right now. I believe the Arkansas Razorbacks are currently playing. So if you're a Razorbacks fan, you could probably guess when I'm recording this. But yeah, that's what's happening there. This was really the best time I could have recorded. So we're just on with the show. But yeah, that's really kind of the big thing I got out of this movie. And something I kind of took away with it was just, this was an extreme example of the vanity of man and the selfishness of man. And that's probably something I need to work on a lot better. Is, a lot of the time I have an earbud in my ear and I am just listening to YouTube videos or podcasts or music, and I'm mostly involved in that I don't notice, oh, that person looks sad, or I'm driving by someone who maybe lost a home and they need money, and I just kind of like, I'm wrapped up in whatever I'm doing, so I'm just going to ignore them. And that's probably something I need to work on, is learning to not be concerned with keeping to myself or just staying involved in my own world, while there are people out there less fortunate than me, people who are struggling with similar things that I am, that need help. It's tough, especially in an age of technology, an age that promotes, an age of a culture, an age of I don't want to ever use the society word anymore just because of that Joker thing, but we live in a culture of technology, and a culture that promotes selfishness, where you just keep to yourself, you just do you, and ignore what everyone else is doing. And that's how we isolate ourselves. Well, I would talk to this person, I would ask and see how their day's going, but I'm in the middle of listening to an album, I'm in the middle of listening to a podcast. Some of you might be in the store right now, in the checkout line, and I'm talking to you, bud. Why are you listening to me? Turn this off. You can listen to this at home. You can listen to this while you're doing chores. The person behind you probably needs help. And you're not going to offer it to him because you're too busy listening to my beautiful, sultry voice. But, yeah, there's a depressing reality and a goofy comedy about two people basically using a dead guy as a meat puppet. So, you're welcome. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I got, I guess. I figured this one was going to be a short one. I did very little prep. Obviously, didn't pick out what I was going to talk about until I watched a movie right before recording this. So this one was going to always be a bit shorter. I'm going to see if I can't stretch it out to an hour, though. So just in terms of Weekend at Bernie's, solid movie. I liked it. Doesn't really hold up as much as I think some people think it does. Especially, it's crazy that it is such a cultural staple, because most of the people in this cast I've never seen anywhere else. Even like the main star, he's been in some like National Lampoon stuff, but like you compare it to like what's his name, Leslie something or other from like Airplane or The Naked Gun. His career took off and he became like the king of parodies, the king of farce, and he was hilarious. He went on to have a great career. You look at a lot of the SNL people, you look at National Lampoon, that took off, blew up Chevy Chase as a massive comedic star. But none of these people ever took off, despite this movie being as culturally huge as it is, where people, like when you want to refer to people puppeting people around, or like, he doesn't even look alive, you got, to bring politics into it, because all movie podcasts are great. You have Biden right now in office, Joe Biden in U.S. presidential office, and you have a lot of people who do not like him, who are saying this guy's basically dead, and they're pulling a Weekend at Bernie's on us. Just for example, so clearly it's something we think of when it comes to this kind of parading around someone who's clearly just a puppet. You could probably make the same thing about many past presidents where it looks like they're out of it, they're crazy. I'm sure someone said something about it, about like Nixon or something, but I realized Weekend at Bernie's wasn't a thing around that time. But when you want to basically call someone a puppet of something or a mouthpiece, I've heard the phrase, they're doing a Weekend at Bernie's on us. Heard it said with CEOs of companies, or with really old actors doing certain causes. It is a very common thing. I don't know if you guys have heard it, but I've heard it quite a bit. So I was just like, well, this is clearly like a big cultural thing. A lot of people who grew up in the 80s absolutely love this movie. I told my dad I was watching it, and he goes, oh yeah, that's a good movie. So clearly this is like a cultural staple of the 80s. Maybe not as big as stuff like The Terminator or, Nightmare on Elm Street. But it was something clearly significant enough to leave a lasting impression, because it has stood the test of time in terms of prominence. People still reference it. People still talk about it. It just never really blew up anyone's career, which is interesting. It was also directed by the guy who did the first Rambo. If you want a fun fact there. So, yeah. Go check it out if you want. Make your own opinions, as Karsten Rundquist always says. Oh, hey, I had just wrapped up this episode, and I realized I forgot to add in our final 2 segments. So I'm going to interject here before we actually officially wrap up to say, hey, here's our week's release radar. First, you have Loki Season 1 that started up on Wednesday. Clear, if you know anything about the MCU, you know what this show is going to be about. It's about Loki bouncing back and forth through time to try to fix some of the mistakes he did. And this will be Loki from Avengers, not current Loki that died in Infinity War. If that seems interesting, go check it out. It will be on Disney+. You have In the Heights, which is Lin-Manuel Miranda's new musical, which will focus on a character named Usnavi, who lives in New York, who kind of pretty much saves a penny every day as he imagines a better life. This seems like it'll be fun. If you liked Hamilton, go check it out. It'll be in theaters. It's also on HBO Max until July 11th. The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, sequel to The Hitman's Bodyguard, is out in theaters right now, where Ryan Reynolds has to come back to help Samuel L. Jackson and Selma Hayek protect him from Antonio Banderas. Action comedy, go check that out in theaters. Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, is also in theaters, sequel to Peter Rabbit, where they go to the big city now and have all sorts of adventures. If you are Someone who likes James Corden. I do not, but if you do, it's in theaters right now. Go watch that. Wish Dragon is now on Netflix. It's pretty much Aladdin, but with the dragon, and in, I think, China. So, yeah, go check that one out. Netflix for the foreseeable future. That's all that came out this weekend, this past week. Go check those out. Make your own opinions about it. I might cover them later on an episode of the podcast. So maybe get ready for that. I don't know. And your weekly recommendation will be Dexter. I mentioned I had finished it during the podcast. Really good show. Unfortunately, season 8, the final season, did not hold up. But seasons 1 through 4, some of the best television I've seen. Great serial killer villains. Season 5 was solid, though the villains were forgettable. Season 6 had an okay villain, really good new characters that they ultimately wasted, but solid nonetheless. Season 7 was really good. I really enjoyed it. Isaac Serco, top tier antagonist from the show. Season 8, not as great, but that's okay. That's okay. Overall, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. I still think it was worth the watch. And also, season 9 will be coming out this fall. They're doing a revival, so maybe that redeems the show, but you won't know unless you watch Dexter. So check it out before the fall premiere of season 9 of Dexter, the revival limited series. So yeah. That's it for our last 2 segments. Let's go back to past Garrett's, who is one of these ways. Let's go back, though. Let's go back to past Garrett, and he will wrap it up. Thanks, y'all. I'm sorry if this episode is a little shorter, or you're welcome for it being shorter. You guys can watch this entire thing in less than an hour's time, maybe in an hour's time, depending on how long it takes for me to wrap it up, but if you like the shorter segments, or just, listening to me less, let me know. Yeah, this has been the Cinema Lounge podcast. My name's Garrett. I've run out of things to say. I'm tired. I don't know why, because it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but yeah, thank you for listening to us. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, press the ding bell icon. Let me know down in the comments your opinions on any of the stories I talked about today, or if you think Weekend at Bernie's holds up against the test of time as one of the best comedies of all time. Do you think it sucks, or are you kind of in the middle of, well, yeah, it's funny, but it's not anything to write home about? If you're watching on Rumble, give us a Rumble, press subscribe there. If you're watching on or listening on Spotify, follow us up there. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, if you're on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating. I think that'll be it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. Go follow us on Instagram at The Cinema Lounge. Yeah, that will be all today. I was going to think of a line from Weekend at Bernie's, but I can't. So, thank you guys for watching. I love you all. My name has been Garrett Inman. This has been the Cinema Lounge podcast, where we chill and talk about movies. Sometimes for an hour, sometimes for an hour and a half. But regardless, it will be laid back sometimes. But until then, I love you all. Have a good night. Peace. I'm going to go back to being dead now.